Yeah, mic check, motherfucker. Everybody leaving about this bitch. Shit. Man, I got a message to you killers. Yeah. Everybody dies, nigga.
We're running out of time.
We out of town, y'all.
God said I'm alright.
R.I.P. Nip.
Nipsey sacrifice. Everybody dies.
Shit, everybody dies, but the difference between you, we don't live the same life. I ain't never lied. I ain't never been a snitch. I ain't never been a bitch or afraid to ride, nigga. And I'm with the homicide. That's the reason I'm alive. Cause I ain't afraid to slide, nigga. If a motherfucker ever try to take mine, this is savage shit, nigga. Shit, things gon' get bad if you grabbing them triggers. Watch your attitude, niggas. Cause you can get bag if you bad enough, nigga. See, this the talk that black folks say, but they ain't never shot a white or get down with no essay. You kill your own like a Nazi, and you scared to go to war with the cops and you not safe. I ain't a terrorist, I'm just an African American trying to explain how real it is. And y'all done killed Nip, blaming on his homie in the crib. Are you serious? Rise.
We're running out of time. God said I'm alright. Nipsey sacrifice. Everybody died.
It's your boy Mason 933. We on the corner of 62nd and Budlaw, where an African American female was just shot. Apparently with her family while she's out with her kids. Apparently there's a car that came by here shooting, probably not for her, but obviously for some others that might have been sitting out here, you know, enjoying the hot day. However, she's rushed to the hospital in stable but serious condition, and there is other possible victims that could have driven themselves to the hospital from what one person was saying here at the scene. So I'm not sure if there is video surveillance footage, but some people definitely have the Ring app or the Bing app, and that'll be being surveyed by 77. So they called initially, looks to me like 20 or more officers to the scene along with gang unit to try to combat the shooting that is occurring. You know, at this particular time, I do want to talk about a few other shootings that I personally witnessed, you know, after and before 4th of July weekend. One shooting in particular was off of Obama in between La Brea and La Cienega, where there was a club party slash, you know, birthday party for, you know, some kids and mothers and families, in which one gunman decided to take aim at a crowd of people adjacent to a numero uno pizza parlor. So there was a DJ they called out, there was entertainment. Of course, grown folks, you know, were enjoying themselves along with their kids, and shots ringed out, and multiple people ended up, you know, running and fleeing and getting hurt. But initially one person was shot in very, very serious condition, in which Southwest transported him to the hospital. Now, don't know what his condition is. I haven't had a chance to do a follow-up on this particular shooting, but from my understanding, when they took him, his signs were vital, but that doesn't necessarily mean they can get you to the hospital in time to stabilize you. You just hope that you're not, or they haven't hit a main artery at that point. And to get into some other shootings and incidents that occurred this week, there was another one off of 60th and West, where a mother of an African-American male was shot along with, you know, another male on 60th and West. Now, this shooting was in broad daylight. Again, you get this jump out, run up type of situation where a car pulls up. doors open up and they run up, knock you down, and then get back in the car and go. So in this case, it was an incident where it was broad daylight. People were actually going to the liquor store when not even words were exchanged. A car pulled up, two people exited, sort of ran up, and an array of gunfire flew at a 60-year-old woman along with this male. And he was struck in the leg and she was hit in the chest, rushed to the hospital in serious condition. He obviously was stable, depending on if he was hitting the main artery or not. And, you know, definitely want to pay attention to the area of 60th and West, because given the Nipsey Hussle situation and all the stuff that's going on, you know, in Southwest to 77, an influx of shootings that took place last week, you know, during a video shoot, and then, you know, now this one on 60th and West with 3 people struck is unacceptable at this point. And again, you know, people say this is summer madness, this goes with the detail of summertime, but, you know, it's almost like having dessert with your barbecue. You know, when people get shot, they sort of enjoy this, but it's unacceptable at this point, you know, to be African American and have to deal with a constant call that the loved ones are in the hospital fighting for their lives from gunshots. And another incident that concerned me this week was that LAPD gang unit, or George unit, decided to, after arresting 2 people, to put a ticket on Nipsey Hussle's car, or Jaguar. You know, unknown why they would ticket this particular car, being that this particular car is on the lot that he owned. So initially, they were looking for 2 men with guns. They sort of contained the area around Slauson and Bryanhurst, all the way to Slauson and Crenshaw. When, you know, the gunman took off, or alleged gunman, or whatever, the man with a gun took off, in which they detained a group of them in the actual parking lot where the Marathon clothing store is. So after searching vehicles and realizing that, you know, there was no guns found at the scene, they ended up arresting 2 for warrants. And before leaving the scene, they ticketed, you know, Nipsey Hussle's Jaguar. I don't know what that was about, if that was, you know, done to piss people off, or it really was a ticket. But witnesses said they had been ticketing, you know, this vehicle since Nipsey had passed. So now, literally the next day, the car got moved, not known by who, but hopefully they didn't tow it, and you know, basically, you know, impound his car, because that would obviously, coming from the YG situation, sort of escalate things to the highest of degree. It's already hot. We don't want it to get hotter this summer than what it is, but definitely a statement that was made by 77 to ticket Nipsey Hussle's vehicle. So the African American male on 7300 was killed around 4:10 a.m. in the morning. Allegedly, there was an incident that occurred where a fight broke out in this vehicle, and when he allegedly tried to rob the individual, they pulled out a gun and basically shot him. Now, my understanding from where the vehicle was parked, he was able to make it, you know, down the street before additional shots were fired at him, and he collapsed and obviously died at the scene of his injuries. But definitely gone and never forgotten for this individual, and for a person to have to go through, you know, getting robbed and so on and so forth. Well, you kind of got to look at it. The demographics in the area changes. You know, some of the brothers in that area might feel some type of way, even though you protected your property, if it was even worth, you know, killing and shooting this individual, because now you might have to move, obviously, from the area because of some ties and what's going on politically in that area. Definitely monitoring this situation. Don't know if there's a candlelight, but we're definitely advocating for this brother legacy, because from my understanding, he was a part of the Nipsey Hussle's joining of different hoods when Big U called for the gangs to come down and pay respects to Nipsey Hussle. So I don't know which brother he is in this actual footage, but I do know he was amongst these brothers who was advocating for peace at one point or the other. So definitely want to give a gone and never forgot. It made his triumph and legacy get him into heaven, and all of us into heaven if there, you know, is a way to get in there. You know, because I do know the ultimate sacrifice. It's like, because everybody dies ultimately at the end, and we all have to pay homage to the Creator. So I'm Nash Baker, watching May Hits 2019, the summer of 2019. I just want to say peace. So it's your boy Masonite 333. We out here with the Revolutionary Party. A lot could be said about this group here, from Ezel Ford all the way to, you know, Keisha Michael. They've been out in the streets, pretty much advocating for peace. And with 5 shootings going on the other day, from South LA Sheriffs to LAPD to Gardena and so on and so forth. We're definitely gonna reach out to some of the families, you know, who got killed, you know, and lost their loved ones to police, obviously turning up their plan of order. It's your boy Masonite 333. We're on the corner of 3700 Imperial, where African-American male was just killed yesterday, June the 7th. Apparently, they got a call. When I say they, I mean the sheriff's got a call. Not sure what the call was, but apparently they approached this male here walking down the street, from my understanding, in which they approached him and shots were fired. And given the trajectory of bullet and shell casings, and including windows that was shot out in this vehicle right here, could have easily been trying to run or walk away from the officers or the deputies. Now, they said a gun was found around 10 p.m. at night, but however, he ended up in the front seat of a sheriff patrol vehicle. Now, I have to tell you, you know, this goes back to the issue when Anthony Weber case, because I guess the same sheriff department is dealing with this same investigation, or a part of this investigation. South LA Sheriffs shot a 16-year-old male young man without a gun. Now, in this case, they trying to say, or he may have had a gun, but we don't really know to take their word over with the family's word, is that he was a bus driver. And he was frequenting the area, staying in one of the hotels. They got a lot of hotels up and down this avenue. He could have been working and staying like way out and just getting a room, basically, to spend the night. Probably went down to the store to get a few things. So my understanding, he was approached by the sheriffs, not sure what the call was, but shots were fired in his direction, mortally wounding him in the arm, the leg, and then the facial area. So, all right, John, so we here, basically there's a mural behind you. Why don't you explain a little bit on this piece right here?
My 16-year-old son that used to work down here at the recycling center. We down here on 88th in Vermont. And that's Anthony right there. He's gunned down by the sheriff's department, shot 16 times. We finally got the autopsy report released. It was actually released about 4 months ago, but they never told anybody.
Right.
So we have this autopsy report and one more coming from the American Medical Examiner's Office that was present during the county coroner's medical exam on my son's body. We're going to have that in a couple more days, but reading this and looking at the gunshot wounds, the 16 gunshot wounds to my son, 9 of which were in the back, and the order that they were shot at him, it's definitely true that he gunned him down by shooting him in the back. He grazed him 5 more times, and then he walked around and shot him 2 more times while the boy was laying on his back with his hands up, begging for his life, and finished him off. Fatal gunshot wounds.
So
This forensic evidence correlates and supports our witness testimony.
right.
There's no denying that this man was not in policy when he killed my son. And it's time for one of these DAs or attorney generals to step up and put the charges on this deputy who's still riding around our community.
So you've seen him, and you and your son. So
Yeah, my son got stopped by him and harassed by him. He tried to intimidate him, and it's just not a good thing.
So the driver didn't have a name tag on this vehicle that I tried to pull up on. So if you don't know by now, Anthony Weber, God claimed to be the killer of our brother, Anthony Weber.
let's get today's date.
July 1st, 2019.
Out here patrolling
I'm down here at the Sheriff's Department on Imperial in Normandy. I just stopped by the Sheriff's and they stole some paperwork of mine. So I tried to flag down another deputy that was circling us in the area, and he put out an SOS for the paperwork, but as he was leaving the vehicle, I asked him, I said, you look kind of familiar. I haven't seen you in a long time. What you been up to? And he said, well, who do you think I am? I said, well, isn't your name Greg Holston? He said, yeah, that's me. I didn't tell him who I was. But he knew who I was after he knew who my name was. And he said, oh, I know you. I know exactly who you are. And just laughed and taunted in my face and like he's spitting in my face, you know what I mean? Like he's back on the force and here in the field.
So did he look anything like the picture that was presented to the
I look
community?
at this dude every morning I wake up.
Uh-huh.
I look at a picture of him with his face whacker. I look at it so I can see the dude that killed my little brother. And I seen it and I recognized him. And I asked him.
So when you looked at him, was that the one who killed
Yes.
Anthony Weber?
Yes.